Let's go for a ride. You are watching CycleCruza's all-in-one motorcycle channel. Subscribe today.
Woo! Yeah, the Blade, baby. Coming to you with a GoPro Hero 4 1080 by 60 frames per second in super view. So hey guys, in this video I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna talk about motorcycles for poor people. For those of you that say you don't have the money for a motorcycle, but you want to get a motorcycle because you see all the fun that CycleCruza is having out here on the streets on his CBR 1000 double R. Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna tell you guys, listen to me, man, carefully. Anybody can afford a motorcycle, guys, okay? I don't want to hear none of that bullshit that you can't afford a motorcycle. Talking about, you know, you got to get new shoes for your baby. You got to buy diapers for your baby. You got a wife that's shopping like a mad woman out there, spending all your money. You don't have shit, you know. All you can do is cut the grass for fun. That's your entertainment in life, is cutting the grass. But you look on YouTube, you look at my videos, and that's your outlet until you can afford a motorcycle. But let me tell you guys, I'm gonna tell you guys, listen here. First off, you know, in my opinion, Americans live beyond their means. You know, a lot of you guys, you get married, you don't have shit, you got good jobs, but you don't have much savings, you just have good credit. So you get the biggest house you can afford, one of these nice big houses here, you know, $300,000 or $400,000, and you guys just get by paycheck to paycheck because you're busy trying to keep up with this fancy lifestyle, which is bullshit, man. I'm gonna tell you guys, first off, live below your means, man. Live way below your means, because you never know what's gonna happen. You know, if you're one of those people that go out there and buy the biggest house, you know what, and you don't have the money to back it up, you don't have the savings to back you up, you know, you lose your good jobs, guess what, your ass out, your house gets foreclosed on, your credit is screwed, you're filing bankruptcy, you're fucked, you know. Live below your means, man, you know. Buy the smaller house. Shit, you don't need a great big house, you know, unless you have a lot of kids. If you got like 1 or 2 kids, you don't need a great big 5,000 square foot house, man. But hey, if you want to get one and overextend yourself, hey, that's you. But anyways, for those of you that are trying to figure out how to afford that motorcycle of your dreams, you know, I have one bit of advice for you. Get your ass out here, hustle, get a second or third job, and use that extra money to buy a motorcycle. Whatever you do not, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, do not finance a motorcycle, guys. Try not to finance anything in life. Own shit. You know, I already did a video on that. I'm not going to go into that. But I'll tell you guys, the peace of mind that you have riding your motorcycle out here, knowing that you lose your job or whatever, you'll still have your motorcycle, you know? And you can sell it anytime you want to and get some of your money back. But at least you don't have to worry about your shit getting repossessed. So, you know, screw the financing. Save up for what you want. You know, you don't have to get a brand new Blade like I did, you know, and spend $9,300, you know, $10,000. Although this Blade is fun as hell, but you don't need to do that, guys. You know, there are plenty of budget bikes out there. Even some of the old Japanese bikes are still awesome, man. I tell you guys, I was just looking in the on Cycle Trader. By the way, I did a video on buying tips video a long time ago, and it's, guys, that's how I was able to get my bike for $9,300 out the door, using those buying tips that I listed in the video. I'll include a link to that video in the info section of this video for you guys, if you haven't seen it already. That'll help you get the best deal possible on a motorcycle. But I'll tell you guys, I was looking on Cycle Trader, and there was a bike, a Yamaha 2006 Yamaha FZ6 for $3,000, clean, only had 10,000 miles. The guy had all the maintenance records for it. That's a great bike for you guys. It's got plenty of power, although it's not the best looking bike. It's kind of outdated. But like I said, you know, screw the looks of a bike. It's when you throw your leg over it, it's about the riding experience, you know. You know, your enjoyment comes from the riding experience, you know, not sitting there looking at your bike. But the FZ6R is an excellent motorcycle. Look on YouTube. A lot of guys praise his bikes. It's going to give you the comfort for those of you like a more upright seating position, but yet somewhat sporty for you to tackle the twisties. It's a great sport bike, you know. And there's a ton of other older bikes, you know. If you don't care about the speed, get an old 250, man. Those bikes can be had for cheap. I mean, you can get a CBR 250R for like a couple of $1,000. You can get a Kawasaki Ninja 300 used, probably for a good $3,000 or less, possibly at least $3,000. Or you can now if you're just also the old CBRs from the 90s, man, the old super sports, like the like a 1998 CBR 600 F3. I mean, those bikes are still great bikes. You know, they're not obviously not as gonna be even close to being as fast as my bike, but they had plenty of power for you. You know, still fairly lightweight bikes, and you can, you know, those bikes can be had for cheap. I just saw another one, you know, I saw one on Cycle Trader for like what was it, like $3,000? I mean, you can get those bikes anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500. And be wary of super cheap bikes. If you see a you know, an older bike, but it's for like $1,000 or something, man, you can almost guarantee it's probably gonna be a piece of shit, unless it's a really, really motivated seller. But whatever you do, any bike that you buy, any used bike that you buy, please take it to a mechanic. You know, if you don't know a bike mechanic, take it to a dealership. They'll charge like $60 to do a full inspection on the bike. And believe me, that'll be the best $60 that you'll ever spend. Because, you know, if anything is wrong with the bike, you can have the owner fix it. And once you have it fixed, you'll know your bike is in top condition. You know, you don't have any problems. You know, I did a video talking about unsafe bikes being sold on Craigslist. You might want to check that out. I'll include a link in the info section of this video. But there's, you know, people out there covering up a lot of shit on some of those used bikes that can be really dangerous for you out here on the streets, guys. And you know, if you have to, buy from a reputable dealer. You know, there's a lot of good dealers out there. Make sure you check the Better Business Bureau and do some research on the dealer, and make the dealer give you some sort of warranty on the bike. You know, at least like 6 months or even 3 months, so that you have a peace of mind, so that if anything goes wrong with the bike, you can take it up with the dealer. You know, you know, it's in their best interest to sell you a good running bike, a safe bike, because, you know, they don't want to deal with the hassle. So most dealers out there are going to sell you a decent bike. You're going to pay a lot more than you would with a private seller, but, you know, you'll have that peace of mind knowing you have a great bike. But hey, for those of you that are absolutely poor as a church mouse, that you're so poor you can't even afford the OR and poor, you just po. For those of you po potential riders out there, you know, and you're thinking about the Chinese motorcycles, the Chinese scooters like CycleCruza rode back in the day. You know, those cheap ones you could have delivered to your door for like less than $1,000, and insurance as cheap as dirt. If you're thinking about going that route, I'm gonna tell you guys that first off, I recommend sticking with the Japanese bikes. I'll be honest with you, straight up. Because Japanese bikes are they're superior to the Chinese bikes. But I'll tell you, the Chinese bikes are not as bad as people say. You know, first off, they are duplicates of the Japanese bikes. They're copies. And the problem I find with the Chinese, the scooter that I had, was that the quality control was pretty poor. You know, you got some loose screws. So what you're gonna have to do a valve adjustment when you get the bike. So if you decide to go the Chinese route, which I know a lot of people that are getting up to like 10-20,000 miles out of their Chinese scooter or motorcycle. So you know, you can, it could be a decent option for you. You know, but if you get a Chinese scooter, you know, like I did, first thing you want to do is check all the screws, tighten all the screws, you know, get some Loctite, tighten the important screws with Loctite, do a valve adjustment, change all the oils, put synthetic oil in the for oil and for the gear oil, change the tires. You know, a lot of times those are really old tires on some of those scooters, have been sitting around. Just check the condition of them. They may be okay to use, but really it's best to probably change the tires on them a lot of times, or at least it was for the scooter that I had. You know, if you do those things, prep the bike when you get it. That bike, you'll be fine. Like I said, there's one guy on one of the scooter forums, he had the same motor scooter that I had, which was a Zingwe ITA 200. He got up to like 20,000 miles on his scoot without any problems. He just makes sure to do the maintenance on it. Like I said, he did the initial prepping of the bike, you know, when he first got it. And he was fine, you know. Insurance, like I said, is dirt cheap. I paid like freaking like $80 a year, you know, here in Ohio, which obviously is probably going to be more for those of you guys that live in the southern states. But I'll tell you guys, it's a decent option, you know. But really, in my opinion, just save up the extra money. Like I said, get the second job, do whatever you have to do, hustle, and just save up the extra money and get an older Japanese bike. But whatever you do, like I said, pay cash for your motorcycle, guys, or scooter. Pay cash for it. Own it. You know, get out of this American bullshit where they buy it now and they pay later. It's bullshit, man. That's why our economy is screwed up. Is because people overextend themselves. You know, live well below your means, and don't buy all that bullshit, man. Don't buy what you don't need. Just get what you need, like a motorcycle. You need a motorcycle, man. You need to get out here and feel the freedom of riding out here on the streets on your motorcycle and cranking that throttle. But hey guys, that's all I have for ya. So until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Deuces.
Welcome to CycleCruza's Click-to-Go links. Just click on the pictures below to go to my recommended videos and my social media sites. Also, don't forget to visit my blog and store at CycleCruza.com. If you have any trouble clicking on these links, they are also provided in the info section of this video. Thank you and subscribe today. Guys, check out my new channel where I talk about anything and everything, not just motorcycle related. CycleCruza Motovlog.